Dragon Age the Veilguard's a game that's been mocked by the internet for months at this point, and really it's only been overshadowed by Avowed because it is another modern audience title, but now we're finding out just a few months after Veilguard's release, it is already going on PlayStation Plus March Essentials titles list, and people are roasting BioWare. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, it is obviously inevitable that games are going to drop in price and that sometimes they are going to go on to subscription services like a Game Pass or a PlayStation Plus, but it has been 4 months since the release of Veilguard, so you would think that it would not yet be out on these platforms and through these services, that you would still have to pay a hefty sum of money for it. I don't think that it should be $70 still. I think maybe $25 is suitable, but we're now finding out that it is making the March monthly games list, and people are wrecking BioWare and also PlayStation because a lot of gamers think that this was a move that was obviously planned like last year or the year before, because it's not like they just snap their fingers and decide, oh, we want this game for next month, but they're thinking that PlayStation assumed it was going to be a giant hit and this was going to be a really big way to get people to sign up for PlayStation Plus, that, oh, it would still probably be doing decent. Maybe some of the hype would have died down, but they probably off the bat assumed because it is a BioWare game, because it was the first Dragon Age game in a decade, that a lot of people were going to show up to buy it. And that very clearly did not happen. I mean, basically, nobody's playing this game now. The launch numbers were not even that good. It underperformed according to EA and BioWare, and the only time that people are really talking about it now are when they are roasting it. I mean, it just unfortunately was a super mediocre game. It was worse than mediocre. It was really bad. Honestly, I think Avowed was better because Avowed, while yes, it has a lot of problems and it's still not that good, it's not as heavy-handed with its identity politics. Veilguard was significantly worse on that front, at least in my opinion. But, I mean, there's basically nobody playing this game anymore. As you can see on Steam right now, as of recording this video, is 1,784 people. And I know that it's a Wednesday afternoon, but still, for it to be under 2,000 is not good to see. And its all-time peak at launch wasn't even great because it was at 89,418. So we're not talking about 2.5 million people like Black Myth Wukong here, and oh, it just happened to drop. And obviously, every single game is going to drop, especially single-player games, because you've gone through the main campaign. If there's no multiplayer, you're most likely not going to play it afterwards. Like, maybe a year or two later, you'll play New Game Plus or a new character if that's a game you really enjoyed. But people are going to play through the main campaign and then they're going to kind of set it and forget it until it's time for a DLC. We know this game is not getting any more updates. BioWare has been absolutely gutted because of this game, and it's kind of over for Dragon Age and also seemingly BioWare. They've got one more shot in them going forward, and that's with Mass Effect, and I don't even know if that's going to be good. There's not a lot of hype surrounding this game anymore, and even 89,000 was not a great all-time peak, but of course, again, I think that they probably were hoping it was going to do much better and this was going to be a big draw-in, but it's not. Currently, it's sitting at all reviews mixed on Steam at 35,093. I honestly think that this is pretty generous. I don't think that it should be a mixed. I think that it should be a negative or overwhelmingly negative. It was truly an abysmal experience. It just is the epitome of a modern audience game, of a company taking an established and beloved franchise and modernizing it. That's why I'm so worried about Fable, because yes, Fable always had more, I guess we'll just call them progressive themes, where you could have same-sex relationships and there were some gay characters within the game, but we know that they are pushing that even further with Fable 4 because they have said that they want the game to appeal to today's modern sensibilities, which is just a massive red flag in my opinion. And, well, Dragon Age the Veilguard pushed that to its limits. How much can you truly modernize a franchise? It just looks like young adult modern audience slop. There's really no intense themes or really violence in this game. It was just terrible. And the fact that on Steam, one of the main images they use to promote this is all of the outlets giving it a 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10 truly shows why you should not trust video game journos. But now, of course, that this game is being added to PlayStation Plus, people are wrecking them, which, by the way, the other two games are really good additions, Sonic Colors, and then, of course, the Turtles Cowabunga Collection. Veilguard is not a game that I would ever pay for a service to play, though, and this is a very quick turnaround. Even look at something like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. While that initially launched to awful numbers, that was on PlayStation Plus a full year after the release of the game. So this is a very, very quick turnaround. And now it's led to, just gamers saying, how desperate must BioWare and also Sony really be? Sony must have thought Dragon Age was going to be a hit, secured the rights to offer it in PlayStation Plus, and couldn't back out of the deal once they realized it bombed. I do generally agree with this take. I do think that they probably expected it to be a much bigger hit, and they couldn't back out of deals. Imagine the people who paid for Dragon Age. I paid for it. Dragon Age the Veilguard was fun. Give it a try. Yeah, guys, it's a very fun game. I guess if you like really generic gameplay and really watered down storylines and identity politics being shoved in your face all of the time, like, yeah, sure, it's good then if you like all of that. They're giving it away to boost the players engaged metric they think makes them look good. Non-binary. Oh man, the Dragon Age team just had to follow DAO and BG3. That's it. That was the formula. Oh well, at least I got it for free. And I suppose if you have previously been a fan of the Dragon Age franchise, and you already pay for this service, like, it's worth technically downloading so that you have it in your library. I personally would not recommend you put any time into it if you do not already know the franchise, because while it is partially like a reboot and you don't need to play the other games to understand what is going on, it is just a really mediocre standalone experience. And if you are a nostalgic fan, sure, you could play it so that you can see what happens, but you also have to go into it expecting to be disappointed. It's like Kill the Justice League. You don't go into Kill the Justice League after playing the other 4 amazing Arkham titles expecting it to be a great game. Maybe you just want to see what happens and how the story progresses, but I wouldn't go into it expecting some really meaningful experience, and that's why gamers are wrecking BioWare over this game. And honestly, that's why I can't feel that bad that BioWare has been completely gutted and restructured, because how big of a failure this game was. I don't like to revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but also when you suck at your job, you should not have a job. And clearly the activists that they hired to make Veilguard were not good at what they were hired to do. And that's why this game was a total failure. And the studio did try to assure longtime fans that, oh, Mass Effect is our primary focus and we're putting so much time and effort into this game. And it sounds like they're trying to assemble like an S-tier team. They've brought back a lot of vets for Mass Effect, but I don't think they're doing that because they want to prove to fans that they can still make good content or that they care about us. I think they are doing that as a last-ditch effort, that they have gotten to the point where if Mass Effect comes out and it is a failure, it is the end of BioWare. And I'm not that heartbroken to even think about that, because while I used to love BioWare, the BioWare that exists today is a shell of the company they once were. Same with like Obsidian, with titles like Avowed. So I, of course, will be keeping my eye on this to see if the developers make any statements. Maybe a few of them are a little bit upset that their game's basically already being given away, but gamers are ruthlessly mocking PlayStation Plus's lineup for the month because Veilguard is a part of it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.